Hola, hola, buenas tardes para todos, todas las que se están conectando esta tarde a este en vivo. Por aquí ya veo que tenemos 4 personitas conectadas, así que qué chévere que sean tan puntuales. Les damos la bienvenida a este espacio. Yo soy Gabriela, soy líder de Talentos 4.0 en uno de los programas de Geek Girls Latam y estamos muy emocionadas de recibirlas hoy en este taller, en su segunda edición, esta vez completamente en inglés con Estefania Suarez, coach en comunicación. Ella está muy contenta de compartirles todos los tips para que se sientan súper seguras a la hora de comunicarse, de transmitir sus ideas de una manera clara y concisa, y qué mejor que hacerlo en inglés, entendiendo que hoy en día todo el mercado tecnológico y la industria se mueven en este idioma. Entonces, ¿por qué no comunicarnos de manera clara y concisa? Así que le doy la bienvenida a Estefanía. Muchísimas gracias por acompañarnos en este espacio y la palabra es toda tuya. Estás en mute.
Ya está. Muchísimas gracias, Gabriela. Bueno, como esta es una presentación y un live que hacer en inglés, porque vamos a hablar de nuestro segundo idioma y cómo sentirnos con más confianza y poder expresar todas nuestras ideas en este segundo idioma, entonces voy a pasar de una vez a inglés.
Súper. Bueno, antes de que inicies, discúlpame, el chat está disponible para que puedan participar, dejar sus consultas, y también este live es completamente abierto a todo el público, entonces las invitamos a que compartan el enlace con todas las personas que crean que esta información les va a ser de mucha utilidad. Así que compartan el enlace, escríbanos por el chat, vamos a estar muy atentas a lo que nos vayan poniendo allí. Listo,
Súper,
ahora sí.
Gabriela. Vale, entonces yo también estaba ahí ya como compartiendo. Y ahora sí, entonces creo que tenemos aquí la presentación. Exacto. Súper. Bueno, me voy a poner mis gafas porque ya saben la edad. Okay, so welcome everyone. Welcome Geek Girls Latam. I'm very happy to have you all here. We are going to talk about our confidence, right? So confidence is such a big topic. You know, everyone talks about it. We see it in different ways. We have a different relationship with that. And specifically with speaking English, it has a different perspective. So I want to share with you first this story of a friend of mine. Her name is Sofia. So what happened? Sofia is a Colombian person. She lives in Canada, and she's super kind, very creative, smart, brilliant. Her English is excellent, and so on. However, there is something particular about Sofia. Sofia has been studying throughout all her life. She has studied, of course, her degree, then a master's degree, plenty of certifications, specializations, and now she's doing her second master's degree. And you know that when you're studying, you need money, right? And well, she, of course, applied for some benefits, and she got them. However, money was usually tight for her, right? And so the most important part here is that when I started talking to her, because of course she's my client, a former client, she was explaining all these things that she has learned, everything about art and art management, because she loves art and museums and so on. And I could see her value, and I could see all her knowledge or her talent, and I could see her, but she couldn't. So it's pretty hard, you know. Imagine you have been studying for years and you know about all these topics. And as a friend, you would like to tell this person, hey, you know a lot. I see your value. I see all the knowledge. I'm interested in this and that you're speaking. But this person is going to say like, oh yeah, thank you so much. But she does not really see it. So as a coach, what I did is to ask her plenty of questions And we did many exercises so she could realize how those beliefs and the fears behind those beliefs, and how she could really see her value and feel it, and afterwards communicate it so she could actually get a job. Now, the point is that studying is important, of course, but you gotta believe about your knowledge and your actions so you can take action. And this happened to me too. As you know now, I'm Estefania, and I grew up here in Colombia. I studied English at school, not a bilingual school. And in 2016, I went to do my master's degree in New York. And as I was studying there, I was feeling that my English was not enough, that I couldn't participate as I wanted in class. And as I faced hardship, my father passed away as well. And during that time, I had 2 jobs. It was pretty stressful. But I started meditating and doing plenty of therapy, and seeing also the people from New York being so driven, like without really caring about anything and just doing. My confidence started increasing. Then I came back here with my husband, who is a very important person that supports me and encourages me, and started training in mindfulness and education, which I finished my program in Spain, as you can see over there in the map. And since 2020, I have been taking action on my confidence. And well, right now I have had plenty of clients all over the world working in amazing companies that had exactly these same fears, these same beliefs on that maybe their English is not enough or their confidence is not enough and they cannot really explain their ideas good enough. So if this is your case, you're not alone. There's plenty of people like you and me, like them and me. So today we will focus on how to feel more confident and take action. First, we will talk about what to do before speaking, right? What it really stops us from communicating with confidence and how to face it. Then, if I get it, you get it, meaning how to understand better the ideas and organize them so we can communicate them. Later, we will speak about what to do when speaking in the moment. And later, after speaking, what do we do after we've had that conversation, after we have the presentation? So here are some reasons why it's hard to speak a second language. First, maybe you haven't had many opportunities to speak that second language in other contexts that are not an assessment or a class or a course that you have been taking. So if that is your case, you relate speaking that second language with assessment, right? With being tested and judged. So it gets pretty hard. Then the second reason is that we have a negative perception of making mistakes. So this has different origins. The first one is that making mistakes is wrong, right? Like we shouldn't try things because if it's wrong, then we will be bullied, people will laugh at us, and so on. So we should not speak up because if we're not completely sure, right? Because making mistakes is not okay. And then maybe we are also fearful of doing pronunciation mistakes or grammar mistakes because people will laugh at us as well. And this also has to do maybe with some classism as well. Third, we have that maybe for us could be easy to talk one-on-one and maybe with another person, but when the setting is bigger, when there's more people or when there's a discussion or a presentation, then we have stage fright, right? We feel nervous, there's anxiety, and it's not easy. So that's another challenge. And last but not least, over here, like Sofia Vergara, you see that we have that perception that translating is wrong, right? Like, oh, I shouldn't be translating. Why am I translating again? But the reality is that if we learn our second language after our first one, and we didn't learn that second language with the first one, right? Like as in an early age, it's normal. It's a part of how we think. It's just how our brain processes that information. So all of those reasons come from experiences that trigger fear. Now I'm going to see over here the chat. Everything's good. Remember that if you have any comments or questions, you can write over there. Oh, hello. So happy about everyone right there. Bad pronunciation are my fears, says Jess. Yeah, it happens. So all of those fears come from some innate fears, right? Like there is that fear of survival. We need to survive. We need to look for threats to see if we are okay, if we're going to be safe. And as those experiences that we were talking before, maybe a public presentation, a hard conversation, an interview, those experiences trigger fear. And then all of those fears bring beliefs, right? Like, my career is in jeopardy. I'm going to lose my job. Or I'm not going to get this job. What am I going to do? Or my reputation is at risk if I do not pronounce well these words, or if I don't say things as I should. What is people going to think about me? That's a belief. And then my life is in danger. You feel in danger. And all of that is real. We feel it. It's in our body. But it might not be completely true, right? Like maybe your career is not in complete jeopardy if you are not explaining something as well as you could in English. Or your reputation is not going to completely break if you make some mistakes in your second language. Maybe it could be more related about what you're saying than how you're saying it, right? So our life could not be in complete danger. And although those fears and reactions have served us maybe in the past, in those situations where those experiences started, maybe right now they're not really serving us a purpose. And the idea is not to not see those fears. It's actually the opposite. So let's see what to do. Okay, so these are some steps. First is to acknowledge that there's fear. For example, I have a fear of, as someone was saying, that my pronunciation is not going to go well, that people will judge me, that they will say that my English is awful, that I speak like, I don't know, whoever, Sofia Vergara, who's amazing. Right? But there's a fear. It's right there. Or I fear that people are looking at me. That happens to me, like, oh, fear of being seen. What's people going to think about me? How are they going to see me? Are they going to judge me? It's not easy. So acknowledging is the first step. The second one is to let it be. Just look at it, let it be. Let it permeate your body. Just let it exist. It's there for a reason. Give it time. Then question it. Because, the fear, where did it come from? And when I feel this way, what is my belief? Maybe that I'm not doing enough, that I don't have enough English, but maybe I do. What is the belief behind that? And then notice your body. What is your body telling you? Right? Like, is your heart bumping super fast? Are your hands shaking? Are you red? What is your body telling you? What are some of those cues? Then you can also, after that, and most importantly, the last step is to find compassion. What do I need? How can I help myself? Because nobody's going to do this for me. Nobody has my fears. Nobody has my experiences. How can I help myself to face this? And here is when we find compassion. Maybe I need forgiveness. Maybe I need more trust. Trust in my voice, trust in what I know, trust in my knowledge, trust in my skills. Maybe I need some company. Maybe I need more love. What is it that I need? And see if I can give it to myself. So those are the steps. And I'm going to invite you all present to accompany me in a short practice. Because one thing is to say it and to name it, and another one is to actually practice it. So I'm going to go over here in the chat. Dora says, my fear is not to understand when people speak. Listening, yeah. Which social media recommend to practice pronunciation and find English native speakers just for practicing, like in a real English immersion? Okay, we can talk about that at the end. So let me know if you're ready over here through the chat, if you're ready for this very short mindfulness practice. Say yes, no, give me a moment, Estefania. I am sitting better. Okay, so we're gonna start. So see if you can sit comfortably wherever you are, and I invite you, if you want, to close your eyes. I will close my eyes as well. And take a couple of deep breaths, inhaling and exhaling. And just being aware of this present moment, the chair where you are, the room that you're in, the computer, whatever is around you, and yourself. And as you inhale and exhale, connect to your body, to your breathing. And now see if you can imagine a door, a very nice big door. And when you open it, you're gonna encounter an experience or a situation in which you felt fear of speaking your second language, English. Maybe you were feeling nervous, maybe it was an interview, maybe it was during a class or with a person that you met and you were not very sure, or just feeling some fear, nervousness, anxiety, tension. Now see if you can acknowledge and say, yeah, I was feeling fear of making mistakes, fear of looking stupid, seeming silly. What is that fear? Name it. And then see if you can let it be. Just give it space. Say yes to it. Yep. That was my experience. And as you let that be, see if you can question it and ask, what am I believing when I feel this way? What's the belief behind it? That I don't know enough, that I am not good enough, that people will judge me, that I need to learn more. What's the belief? Or the beliefs, could be many. And then see if you can notice your body. What are the signals? See if you can notice your feet, your legs. See if they are maybe tense or shaky or warm, cold, anything that comes up. Notice your hips, your pelvis, your stomach, your chest, your heart. Notice your back, shoulders that usually get very tense when we feel fear. Our hands and arms, the throat, your jaw, your mouth, your face, all the muscles in your face, your scalp. See if you notice the tension, shaking, heartbeats. How does that fear present? Maybe after taking a deep breath, see if you can find some self-compassion. And you can tell yourself that it's okay, that it's normal, that you're in the right path, that your thoughts, knowledge, voice is valuable, valid. And that you're doing the best you can. And as you inhale and exhale, deeply and softly, see if you can come back to this call, this life. Okay. So thank you all. Please, if you want to write any comments on how are you feeling, I will read them. I hope that you heard what I was saying, hopefully. So this is the short version of what we did, which is to acknowledge your fear, notice your body, and find self-compassion, and then repeat. Every time that you encounter a situation in which you feel that fear, see if you can acknowledge, identify, give it a name, notice your body, and then find that self-compassion that is going to help you move forward. So Related to confidence is our mindset. And I think that many of you know about this, but there's never too many times that we can repeat it. It's always important. So we have the fixed mindset, right? Which is a mindset or the idea that we are done, that our personality is done, that we cannot really learn a lot more. And we tend to be very hard on ourselves. So fixed mindset could be something like, well, I'm feeling very nervous. I'm going to get stuck. Or I made a mistake. I'm the worst person. I'm too bad at this. I'm never going to learn English. I'm never going to be fluent. I'm just not going to do this. And then we have the growth mindset, which is, I'm excited. I know I'm going to do my best, right? Like, I know if I make a mistake, I'm going to see it and I'm going to try again. I need more practice. I know I can do this. And for these, or to embody that growth mindset, I invite you all to get into the power pose. That means putting your hands on your hips, right? Like if you're a superhero right there, like this very nice image, putting your hands on your hips and feeling like a superhero, putting your chest out, your chin up, taking a deep breath, and then really feeling that confidence that you can do it, that you can take on any challenge that comes to you. Maybe you can look at the horizon and really engage into that confidence, what confidence feels for you. So this is a body posture, right? And it helps us to channel that confidence. Now, we saw what to do with fears, right? How to understand how those beliefs and fear are stopping our confidence. Now, let's see if we understand better our ideas so we can actually explain them a lot better. So first, we just need to understand. It needs to be clear. You have to have the information clear. Otherwise, it's going to be double the difficulty, right? And if we understand it as just like that beautiful image, you're more likely to explain it well. And so there are many strategies to understand a topic better for yourself and for others. But for now, this is all before engaging in communication. So see if you can clarify, who are you going to talk to? Who is your audience? And I have a clear example of this, and it happened not too long ago. I went to this meeting of a building. They were discussing how they were going to fix something, and they called two engineers, right? Like, one engineer was older and he started sharing all his experience and background. And then the other engineer was a little bit younger, like let's say 35. And he started explaining that his company was just 2 years old, and he explained how was he going to do the project. But the audience was mostly people in their 50s and 60s, not in their 30s or 20s like me. So what happened is that when people had to vote, most people, as older people do, they value experience. So the younger person saying that he does not have enough experience, and that just explaining the project and what he was going to do in a more technical level did not really convince the audience. So, I hope that everything goes well in that building, but you first need to know who are you going to talk to and how can you craft that message for a specific audience. Then I recommend you to create a mind map. So mind maps are imperfect. These are like maps of ideas, right? Over here, I have the example of something that I did, right? Communication skills for more confidence. And you add the main ideas, right? Like how you relate to them. And this is an exercise. It does not need to be perfect. And ideas are not generally linear, right? They are not in a perfect sequence, 1, 2, 3. Rarely. They're usually more like connected to each other. And as you're developing your ideas and as you're understanding a topic a lot better, you need to know how are they related, and then how to explain them so you can explain them better. So over here, I wrote practice, and then I'm like, but practice relates to everything. So I did this line over here, and then this one right there, right? So I could understand what I was going to explain better. And then after this, maybe I can do another map, or I can start doing the next strategy, which is writing. Write about it. See if you can create, now that you understand your topic, a narrative. You can write one day and then go to sleep and then see it the next day. See if you really understand your topic. And this will also help you to gather vocabulary. This will help you to gather keywords, research more, right? And then, of course, don't learn it by heart. Don't start learning what you're writing, because that's not going to help you when you explain it. And after this, you can also share what you have written. Share with a person that you trust, with a coworker, with a friend. Hey, can you please read this for me? And give me feedback. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what's the message? I know that it requires vulnerability, but it will definitely help. Then we have idea organization. So this is key not only for understanding the topic, but also for when you're going to explain it. So these are some structures that you can write down on a paper, on a Post-it, have them at hand for before and during a conversation or a presentation. So the first one, I call it PREP. It's an acronym for point, reason, examples, and point summary or conclusion. That's the structure. Then we have the golden circle. This is from Simon Sinek. You can also look him up, Simon Sinek, the golden circle. And the most important thing about this structure is that you start with why, right? Like the value is what's most important, and you will start like that. So, for example, I can say that relationships are the most important thing for a teenager. And so that's why developing communication skills is essential when you're growing up. That's my what. And then how to do it? Well, I can go into explaining how to develop your communication skills later. Okay, I see over here in the chat that Cristina Brilla says, I feel calmer, I feel more confident. Hello, good afternoon. Good. So these are other structures. I love this one because it's super clear, and it helps you and everyone that you will talk to what you really think about a topic, because it is never like, oh, this is what I think and that's it. We usually are comparing and weighting ideas. So this is very helpful. You can talk about some positive aspects, benefits, advantages, and then contrast it with negatives, downsides, disadvantages. I wish I had known about this structure when I was studying my master's degree, and so my participation in class would have been a lot better. Or even participating in meetings if you are working in English. This is definitely the way to go. Then we have problem, solution, and benefit or result. If you're explaining a project, if you are giving a solution, maybe you can start by the problem. What is the real challenge? And then what are some possible solutions? And what happens if you apply one of those solutions or all of those solutions? And here you can number it, right? Like first, second, third, benefit or solution or result. Then we have OAT, opinion, anecdote, and tie back or conclusion. So what is an anecdote? An anecdote is a story. It's a short story. So this structure will help you to frame your opinion, and then give your experience, share your experience, right? Say, why is it that you think this way? In which moment in your life you learned this? What are your thoughts on this, right? Based on your experience. So sometimes we don't really trust what we went through, but our experience is as valuable as something that you read on a book. So I encourage you to apply this structure whenever you're having a presentation or whenever you are engaging in conversation, as well as participating in meetings. And ideally, always tie back and add a conclusion, right? Because if we don't do it, then the ideas will be kind of spread around. So if you start with your opinion, then finish like, and so this is why my opinion is like this, right? With a clear conclusion or wrap up. And last but not least, it's important to talk about it with different people at different moments, right? Like ask a friend, ask a coworker, someone that you met at a party, whoever, you know, explain your topic, use the vocabulary that you learned when you were writing, explain your ideas, and then ask, was that clear? Do you understand what I just said? Can you explain it back to me and see if you got it? And then that's a little bit of an exercise for the other person, but I assure you that it will help you practice if in the case that you have a presentation or you got to do a pitch in front of people, or even an interview, a job interview. And if you are not so sure and your confidence still not there, you can still record yourself. Use your phone or the computer, record yourself explaining your ideas, and then listen to them later with a lot of compassion and kindness for yourself and your voice and all of those things, so you can actually get some of the things of the mistakes maybe that you made, and see how you can make that better. See what word would it be better, and right there in that sentence that I said, how can I explain this differently? Maybe you need to reorganize the whole thing after you hear it in a recording. Christina says, I love the idea of the mind map. It's super useful. I'm late, but I love what I'm listening. Excellent. Yay. And here we have some extra tips. So to feel confident and show confidence, usually you can organize your thoughts in bullet points, right? And practice. How can I explain this with these few bullet points? Not like super long script. Otherwise, you will get lost. And if you forget a word, you're gonna get lost. So see if you can simplify with the structures that we saw all your thoughts and organize them clearly in 1-2 sentences. 2 sentences is too much, just one. Then, as I said, find the keywords and use emphasis, right? So in Spanish, we have the accent, right? Tilde. But in English, that does not as clear as it is. So when you find the keywords, for example, the word emphasis, and if I say it a few times, then I know how should I say it better, right? Emphasis, and then exaggerate it and really find the emotion in the word. And that takes us to practicing voice modulation. So what is the pitch that I'm talking? The pitch is like how high or how low I go, as in like high or low, right? Like how is my voice changing as I am speaking? Tone, so we have pitch, and then there's also pace. How fast or how slow am I going? Am I speaking super fast, which happens to me, right? And so the ideas just kind of get in the way. Or maybe you need to pause more, take a couple of breaths, and keep going with your ideas. There's nothing wrong with that. Oh, I forgot. And for voice modulation, there's also volume, right? Like how loud, how quiet I speak. And of course, believe that you can do it, so you're more likely to do it. And for these, you can also record yourself and practice by yourself, but ideally with someone else, with a friend, the coworker that can help you improve. So now we saw what to do before speaking. Now, what should we do during? So for that, there's not a lot. There are not too many strategies or not a lot of things to do, but being present. Just being present and connecting with your passion, right? And I love this sentence over here, and I wanted to share it with you, which is convince me to fall in love with whatever you're in love with. When I think about communication skills and expressing myself, I feel it very close to me because I don't only express myself through words, but also through art, through music, with my body language, my hugs to the people that I love. So when I feel that passion for my topic, I'm more likely to express it better. And I also want to share this picture, this painting of Kandinsky, the artist. He loved music, and his art relates to composition and harmony. And through geometry, he chose circles and squares and this type of figures like this, just so he could create this art that is harmonic. He chose specific colors that could show emotion in the way that he wanted it. So when he was painting, he was thinking about harmony and composition. And this is exactly the same that we want to do when we are expressing our ideas, right? It's not about our English, it is about the message that we're sharing. If I focus on the message, if I focus on my voice, my expression, maybe some repetition, like these lines that he adds over here, I love it. The person will get the idea that I'm actually trying to say. That's all that we can do while speaking, being present and connected to our emotions and passions. Oh, and I forgot. There's one extra thing that you can do when speaking, and is to have aid, right? Like visual aid with a flashcard. Maybe you write the same bullet points that you were writing before, or in a more clear way, less words, the best, and that will help you in the moment. Now, what to do after speaking? So after a conversation or a presentation, we tend to be very hard on ourselves. And we do exactly this, not just facepalm, but double facepalm. No, that was terrible. I said everything wrong. I spoke too fast. I'm the worst. I forgot the word. Like just going super hard and deep with all those judgments. So I'm not talking about toxic positivity, right? Like, oh, everything went well. I did excellent. Just, forget about it and move on. Because we want to acknowledge the mistakes, right? And still being kind to ourselves. So I thought about this example, and is how would you talk? How would your best loving self would talk to a kid, a child, who is learning how to tie their shoes? So if there's a very nice little boy or girl, and you're helping them to learn to tie their shoes, you cannot just leave them with like a knot in their shoes, because maybe they're going to go and run and fall. So you have to acknowledge the mistakes, look back, ask for feedback. What went well, what went wrong, what can I do better? And then focus on, I'm going to do it better in these ways, super specific. Next time I'm going to say this. Next time I can change this word. Next time I can be more expressive with my language. Next time I will have a flashcard, right? Like, what are all those things that I can improve? And as you observe those mistakes, add some compassion, add that growth mindset, and go back to that position in which I'm doing good. I know that I can do better. I have acknowledged my mistakes, so I can move forward. And this takes us to the nerdy moment of the night, which I love. It's always a good moment to be nerdy. Dora Cecilia, I actually have used several of them. It's important to remember them and to know others. I'm going in the chat. Yeah. And buenas tardes, super. So the nerdy moment of the night. Imagine that there's a group of children who like to draw. They love drawing. And to motivate them, you will start giving them a prize every time they finish a picture. So what do you think will happen? And please write over there in the chat. I want to see your answers. A, they will draw more. B, they will draw more, but the quality will be lower. C, they will decrease their interest in drawing. They're not going to want to draw anymore. Or D, nothing will change. What do you think? They're kids, they like drawing, and to motivate them, you start giving them prizes every time they finish. I read you. What do you think it could happen? A, B, C, D? I see A, B, consider C. Interesting. Estefania says C. Okay. They will draw more, definitely, says Ma Popa. With a prize. Okay, anyone else? Camila says A. They will draw more. Okay, interesting, interesting. So this is a study that was done in 1973 of about intrinsic motivation, that motivation that comes from inside, with extrinsic reward, meaning reward that comes from outside. And so as it turned out, over here you can see those who knew that we're going to get a reward, right? Received a reward, and they said like, hey, I'm going to give you a reward every time you finish. They decreased the time that they were spending. They did not spend that much time drawing anymore. Then those who did not receive any reward just stayed drawing exactly the same time. And those who received a surprise reward draw a little bit more because it was a surprise. So why is this important? And it's because we have some levels of dopamine, right? Dopamine is that chemical that makes us feel, like excited and with energy, and it gives messages throughout all our body. And we usually have a baseline, meaning a certain amount of dopamine in our body running all the time. And when we receive a reward, that dopamine increases, right? And I'm sure that you have received a reward or have finished a project or ran a marathon, and then you were like, yeah, I did it, at the end. And then your dopamine increases. It goes super high. And then you're super happy, ecstatic, etc. But then what happens is that if we get used to those rewards, those dopamine levels, those high dopamine levels, then the baseline is not going to be that stable. We're going to want more and more and more of those rewards. And there's also something else, and is that after a big hit in dopamine, we usually go lower than the baseline, than the usual dopamine that we have every time. So after a big hit, a big event, a big reward, then we don't go back to normal, we go lower. And that makes us a little blue or nostalgic, which is not bad. It's just part of nature. So all of this is to say that maybe we can focus more not on the reward and not on the achievement or that goal that we want to hit, but on the path that we're walking, right? To enjoy the learning process. And that happens as well for speaking English and for feeling better with our language. It's not like, that day or when I finish studying this and that, then I'm going to be fluent. Because it's not about that. It's more about how am I actually enjoying learning, or how I can not suffer if I make a mistake, or just be a little bit more kinder with myself. So I would like to share with you this word cloud. So please, I want to share the link, but I can't, so I'm going to share it with Gabriela over here. Dora said I changed we do not practice enough for fear of being wrong. Yeah, that's true. So that is the link, and you can scan this with your phones and participate in this word cloud. That means, what would you say? For me, speaking confidently means, and please select one word. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to change windows in a second, so we can see what the word cloud tells us. All right, so for me, speaking confidently means, and please write one word. Gabriela, see if you can share that window. Yeah, there. I encourage you to participate. Just one word in English. Okay. See, we have trust, knowledge, willingness, speak fluently, peace, knowledge, interesting, knowledge, fluency. Nice. So knowledge is the most important. That takes me back to the story about my friend Sophia in the beginning, which she's been studying and studying and studying. But it was very hard to take action. So apart from knowledge, what else do you think you can do? Once you have the knowledge, you have taken all these steps to understand the topic as we spoke, because it's definitely essential. What else? Okay. Well, oh, trust. Good. All right. We have one more participant typing. Confidence. Speaking confidently means confidence. like feeling it, right? Courage. Nice word. Courage is to be vulnerable, to take on the challenge. Practice. I love that. Yes. To be confident, we need to practice feeling confident. The power pose, understanding the subject, going through the steps for facing fear. Every time a situation comes, oof, I feel the fear. How does this feel in my body? What can I give to myself? Peace, joyful, willingness. Thank you. Thank you all for participating. Encourage. Right. I will share again my presentation. Okay. So thank you for participating in the word cloud. And now I want to know if you have any questions. And thank you so much for being here, for your presence. Knowledge, relax. Good. I think that someone had asked a question, so I'm going to go back on the chat. Which social media recommends to practice pronunciation and find English native speakers just for practicing like in a real English immersion? So I wonder where you are, the person that is named Clínica Contable, just to know, because I know that, well, here in Bogota, to do it face-to-face, there's a place, but for social media, I'm not quite sure. I'm not there, but I can research and give you an answer that I'm sure Gabriela can give you or share with you later. How long did it take you to have the confidence to present to the public so calmly? I'm glad you see it calmly, Christina. I still feel a little bit of the fear, but as I have practiced all these strategies that I'm sharing with you, I feel more relaxed. How long did it take me? I'm not sure. It's a great question. But I think that over a year. Over a year, yes. At least 1 year of practicing and being in more of these situations. Thank you so much for being here. Follow me, especially on LinkedIn, that I post a little bit more posts and experiences that I go through, and a little bit less on Instagram, but there I am as well.
Bueno, yo voy a ingresar por aquí. Voy a ya romper el silencio o el hielo de hablar otra vez en español.
Gracias, Gabriela. Ya, en español.
Gracias a todas las participantes. Bueno, aunque no sé quién sea Clínica Contable, por estar tan participativos en el chat. Les tenemos una sorpresa con Estefania. Entonces, si nos quieres contar un poquito de esa sorpresa y la hacemos de una vez, ya que no veo que tengamos más preguntas.
Súper. Bueno, pues la idea es que, como saben, yo soy coach de comunicación y quiero regalarles a las personas, a una persona de las que estuvieron presentes, una sesión de coaching. Entonces, la idea es que nos ponemos en contacto, me cuentan cuál es esa prioridad que quieren trabajar y tenemos una sesión gratis para que practiquemos y yo les doy más herramientas para que se lleven a su casa.
Así es. Entonces, acá tenemos una aplicación y lo que hicimos fue que anotamos las personas que estuvieron participando durante el evento. Entonces tenemos en total 7 personas, así que vamos a hacer el sorteo con esas 7 personas, ¿te parece?
Perfecto.
Listo, entonces simplemente vamos a ir acá a confirmar.
Qué bueno, Dora, que te gustó la práctica de mindfulness.
Muy bien, dice que el ganador o ganadora es Jazz GR. Entonces, si estás allí, por favor escríbenos ya mismito que sigues conectado o conectada, porque si no, volvemos a generar el ganador. Tiene que estar conectada la persona en este momento del sorteo. Entonces, si estás en este momento, por favor, escríbenos ya. Contemos 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No nos escribe.
Tal vez no, tal vez se tuvo
Entonces,
que ir.
entonces vamos a volverlo a hacer. Vamos a volverlo a hacer. Ay, regálenme un segundito, lo volvemos a intentar, porque la idea es que lo reciba la persona que se encuentre conectada en este momento y que haya participado durante pues todo el taller. Si tienen más preguntas, pueden irlas haciendo. Aquí esperemos a que nos cargue la aplicación. Ok, volvámoslo a hacer. Listo, quedó ese punto, es SOS Clínica. Laura Lazo. Ella escribió ahí. Laura, ¿sigues aquí? Esperemos a que nos responda. Y Laura, ¿sigues aquí? ¿Será
Sigues
que ya
con...
se nos desconectó?
Como ya estábamos cerrando.
Ay, no puede ser que se haya desconectado.
Pero ya
Eh,
participó.
¿Qué dicen? ¿Lo volvemos a hacer una tercera vez?
Cristina dice, yo estoy aquí.
Es importante este premio, es una sesión personalizada completamente con Estefania, experta en comunicación, que va a poder ayudarles a dar todos esos tips y obviamente entender más a profundidad cuáles son esos retos o tal vez esos puntos a trabajar que cada persona tiene, ¿cierto?
Y también en español, como si quieren hacer la sesión en español, si en inglés, lo que necesiten.
Exacto, súper buenísimo. Entonces, bueno, varios me respondieron que sí,
Yo,
pero ya contestó Laura. Muy bien. Entonces, Laura, por favor, escríbenos un correo para poderte contactar con Estefanía. Te voy a dejar aquí el correo en el chat. Y la idea es que puedas pues contactarnos lo más pronto posible para que se haga efectiva la sesión. ¿Listo? Entonces, muchísimas gracias a todas por participar. Esperamos les hayan servido un montón todas estas herramientas. Este envío lo van a poder repetir y lo van a poder compartir tantas veces deseen, tomar nota y bueno, muchísimas gracias. Si también tomaron, no sé, tal vez screenshots o notas, pues mándenos una fotico a través de redes sociales. Nuevamente les dejo las redes sociales aquí de Estefanía, la pueden encontrar allí o en su página web. También nos encuentran a nosotras en @geekgirlslatam y les damos las gracias y una muy feliz tarde.
Chao, gracias.